I'm going to try to say this without crying. So I went to Target just now to go pick up some last minute things for a baby shower I'm hosting. And there was a woman outside. She said, "Hey." I said, "Hey, I don't have any cash on me, but if there's anything you need, I'm more than willing to get it for you." She said, "I could really use some deodorant." I said, "Okay." I noticed she had a baby with her. It was a little boy, too. And I said, "Is there anything he needs?" And she said, "My baby's been in the same diaper all day." I'm not trying to be on Instagram crying like that, so I had to take a moment. But she wanted diapers. So I go back into Target. I get a box of diapers, a box of wipes. I get a few outfits for her baby boy. I look in the car to see if there's anything of Azariah she could have. And I wonder how many people just walk by her who just thought of her as another unsheltered woman, homeless woman, maybe created some story on how she got there, drug addiction, poor choices, and didn't think to just ask her, "Do you need anything? How can I help you?" And the reality is, most of the people who follow me, especially the ones I know, we're not wondering if we're going to eat tonight. We're not wondering if we're going to have diapers tomorrow for our babies. And I just encourage all of us to just do better at taking care of human beings. This world is so hard on us. These companies are all about profit and greed and not about humanity, not about people, but we can be about people. So ask people when you see them suffering what they need. And if you have it to give it.
I really needed to hear that today. God bless this woman and her kindness, because we really made more people like her. And I love being reminded that if we can do good, we should do good. We should help each other, because as we reach out and help one another, we all rise up. And I feel so sorry for this woman. And again, we don't know her circumstances of getting there, but the creator, the person who's making this comment, has really inspired me to go out and help someone today.
So I'm in Walmart right now, and I am genuinely curious what the internet thinks about this. So I'm in the toy aisle. I have 4 kids. I have a 1-year-old, an 8, a 10, and a 13-year-old. But I'm looking at baby toys, and man, have they changed since my oldest was a baby. Let me show you a few things, and I want your opinion on them. Okay, so first up are these play-along earbuds. Here's like I would say equivalent of like a Stanley coffee cup. A game controller toy. There's like a smartphone. This brings me back, but like a Game Boy. I mean, it says little gamer, but they can't use the word Game Boy. Baby's first Rubik's Cube. A gamer. It looks like a Switch to me. TV remote. Okay. I'm not really sure what to think. I'm genuinely not. I'm curious what all the educators online think. Like, what does research show? I don't know. I feel like hands-on project-based learning is great, but like, is this the new like wave of learning? I don't know. Oh, this is kind of cool. A dumbbell, and it helps you count. And just to clarify, I'm kind of staying neutral because I don't really know what to think. Toys have changed so much since I was a kid. Okay, internet. What do you think? Is this a good thing? Toys evolving this way? I don't know.
This woman brings up a really interesting point, something that I hadn't thought about before. That as I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, maybe these toys are what is being pushed, what are being marketed, because that is what babies and kids pick up around the house. Like the remote, I know babies chew on a lot. I'm sure there have been instances of moms and dads losing AirPods because babies are playing with them. This all makes sense to me, but I'm not sure if this is necessarily a better or worse toy than what we had before. I don't know.
There's a lady on TikTok talking about her encounter with vampires, so I might as well talk about mine. This New Year's Eve, I was driving Lyft and I picked up an order, and it ended up being at like a place that used to be a church, but it wasn't a church anymore, obviously, if you saw the festivities that was going on. There were like people with cloaks and like dark hair and heavy eyeliner, and there was like a red glow from the building coming out. 4 guys got into my car. As soon as they got into the car, I felt a chill. And yes, it was winter, but it was a different kind of chill. I turned around and looked at them, and I immediately knew they were vampires. And it wasn't even just like a thought, it was more so a knowing. Before they got into the car, I was thinking like maybe they were devil worshippers because I had seen like a goat head and like the typical symbols that you see with associated with that. But I was like, no, these are vampires. There were 2 brunettes and 2 blondes. They all had blue eyes. Not that that mean anything, but their eyes were almost hypnotically blue. They were so clear, you could see through their, like, not their soul, but I can't even describe it. Their skin was white, but not white like crayon white, but it was very pale, but it was not a pale like, you know, some like white people are like, oh, I'm so pale. Even like red, people with red hair, how pale. It was it was still a different kind of pale, because even regular people, when they're pale, there's still some warmness to their skin. Like their skin looked cold. I don't know how to describe it, but it was more so the feeling of me knowing. Immediately, I start to panic. My heart is racing. I'm feeling like, is it too late to reject the call? Like, can I even ask them to leave the vehicle? And then I started thinking, okay, if I am panicking and my blood pressure is rising, then I'm like pushing more blood through my veins, which may mean that I may seem more appetizing to them. This is all stuff that's going through my mind. The man behind me, the blonde who was like in the middle, touches my shoulder, and immediately it's like somebody poured warm honey over me. Like that is the calm just spreading down my body. It was like immediately I felt relaxed, almost like I was in a trance, kind of there, but like watching myself. I can't even really describe it. And I knew at that moment that I wasn't necessarily in danger. So then the guy is like, well, our car is only a few blocks away, which I could tell from looking at the app. And he's like, but before we get there, we need you to answer a question. And you have to think very carefully about this. So now I'm like, okay, this answer is going to determine if I go home to my children or not. And it could just be my imagination and like me jumping the gun, and he could have been joking, but it didn't feel jokey. So he's like, okay, well, we have 2 separate cars. How would you group us together? Who should ride with who? What? So I'm like, I look back at them, and they're smiling and they're kind of giggling. Now their teeth don't look like regular teeth, but they don't look like the typical vampire teeth either. But they definitely did not look like human teeth. Their canines were a little bit more pronounced, but not in a dramatic, fake way. I can't even freaking describe it. And actually, if I had to describe them, to sketch them out right now, I couldn't even, because it's like they're a memory, but not like a typical memory, like a memory behind a memory. I can't describe it. But anyways, I knew it. I'm like, you're vampires. Yes. I heard the answer in my head. No, I'm looking at them through because I'm like, if they lunge for the jugular, I'ma crash us all. But I grouped the opposite hair colors together. And the guy said, well, why did you do that? I said, I don't know, it just felt right. He said, excellent choice. He took out his phone and he's like, I'm gonna start my car now. And I'm like, you could start your car from my car? And he's like, yeah, but we like you. You'll get home safe. Good. Like, you'll get home safe tonight. Have a good night. And I was like, yeah, I was kind of thinking that, doing Lyft on New Year's Eve could be dangerous, because like, who knows what kind. I was trying to make it seem like I didn't think they were the danger, but just let them know, like, in case they heard me panicking. Oh, fucking went and saw the vampire. But anyways, they got out and they gave me my biggest tip of the night. You would think that would have been my last ride for the night, but no, I kept going. I made it home, and I didn't tell any other person about this story because, like, are you supposed to share vampire stories? I don't know. However, I just did. So just know that there are other beings in this world besides us, and maybe they're not all so dangerous.
Wow, that is so crazy to think about. If vampires are really real, I wonder what type of vampires in media were the most accurate. Like, is it Twilight, Nothing, Vampire Diaries? I mean, it's more likely that these aren't real, but it's fun to think about, right? Because it would explain a lot of maybe murders from the past, or if they'd been on this whole time, maybe they're just better at hiding.